Hi, I'm Darren and welcome to New Factory Classics. Today we're going to go over a perfect Christmas pairing from Nicely Entertainment. Now Grace, she is a chef in the big city. Her last name is Cook, so she is Grace Cook, the chef. That works out really well because her mom was also a cook and a chef, so they really just kind of leaned right into that. So Grace has been living in the big city now for over 10 years, trying to work on her menu so she can get a Michelin star. And in fact, tonight is the big night where she is going to get rated for her Michelin star. Now, unfortunately, the lady that comes in is a hoity-toity, really uppity, angry woman who has a cold demeanor, colder than snow. And it's a really hard night for her, but she thinks she did just fine. You find out that she gave up on finding love, she gave up on being with her family, that she left, that live in a small town. They actually own a winery and a bed and breakfast. And she gave up all that so she could get her Michelin star. And then it cuts to her being at home, and she can barely afford any Christmas decorations, even though she loves Christmas, and she even has to eat frozen meals despite being an almost Michelin star rated chef. She's given it all up so she can get this Michelin star. And she, of course, gets the Michelin star. No, I'm just kidding. She does not. And that's where the crux of the movie begins, because her boss sees her floundering and he sends her home. He says, "You need a vacation or you're going to lose it." So she drives to her old house, which is a small town, what appears to be Napa. And the reason is because it's a winery town with really green, despite it being almost Christmas. So it definitely looks like it's Napa, but they don't give you the name. And whenever I go to my hometown, the first thing I do is I go to a bookstore, find somebody that's doing a Q&A on their new book, and I absolutely make fun of them. No, but that is what she does. She finds a guy named Asher St. James, the man pictured in the picture right next to me, and he is the main love interest for this movie, and she just completely makes fun of his lack of knowledge of wine. Now, Asher St. James is a totally normal name that somebody should definitely give their child growing up. It won't make them get made fun of at the yacht club or anything. And just so you know, I'm going to only say Asher St. James the entirety of the name every single time, because his name needs to be said in its entirety, because he is Asher St. James. Now, he is a self-proclaimed Christmas expert. He travels the world, and he celebrates Christmas with different families. That is apparently a job that I guess you could do maybe about 20, 25 days a year, but that's apparently his whole job, is a travel expert for Christmas. And then he writes books and gives Q&As at local bookstores. Now, when Grace finally arrives at her family's winery, which is called Nutwood Wines, when you think of wine, you think of nuts. She finds out that they're not doing financially all that well. Nobody is coming to the bed and breakfast. Nobody's coming to the cafe. So bad, they haven't even decorated for Christmas. So all she hears is that they haven't decorated for Christmas, which is funny because if you look around everywhere, the entire place is decorated. But don't worry, that won't stop them from decorating throughout the movie. Despite already being decorated, they are going to decorate over and over and over again. Now, luckily for her, despite not being in the house for over 10 years, they've kept her room nice and prepared for her. Because no better way to run your bed and breakfast than to have one room blocked off for a person who hasn't been on site for 10 years. Now, Grace finally runs into Felicity, her best friend growing up, who's been running the cafe that is currently shut down. What she's doing day to day is it's not really clear. She did decorate for Christmas, but it'll be brought up that she hasn't decorated for Christmas. But either way, while she's on vacation, Grace plans to assist Felicity in both decorating and making a new menu. Now, Grace is staying with her aunt and uncle that own the bed and breakfast, winery, and cafe. She's lived there since her parents died. It's pretty much implied that she is an orphan. And the first night, what she does is she helps them redecorate their tree. The tree is decorated. They decorate it again. It's what I do every morning in December. I decorate my Christmas tree, sometimes again at night. but it's definitely the best thing to do is to constantly decorate your tree. Now, Uncle Neil threatens to go after the Michelin star raider because he didn't like how Grace was talked about in the article. Now, what surprises Uncle Neil was that it was a woman who wrote that article. And in his biggest response was, "What?" Yes, Uncle Neil didn't know that women could write articles, and this bed and breakfast is really focused on values that take place before 1941. You know, while decorating the cafe, Felicity's brother comes in, and who is it? It's Asher St. James. Now, she's not referred to as Felicity St. James. I'm not even sure if St. James is his real name or just because he was a traveling writer, but he will be constantly referred to as Asher St. James. Now, a wine mogul is coming to town, and she is trying to buy up the entire town. Not only is she trying to buy their winery, their bed and breakfast, and their cafe, but it'll be revealed in the future that she's trying to buy every winery in town. She also goes after the local cheese shop and the local bookstore. Big Wine wants to own everything in this town. So the family, like all their families, at Christmas time play a little game called Tossing the Cork, where they take a bunch of corks and they toss it into a barrel. The barrel is about 5 to 10 feet away, and it takes the 5 of them about 6 shots each for someone to finally make a cork land in the barrel. Now that person gets to open up the first Christmas present on Christmas, despite the fact that half of the people that attended this at this point in the movie didn't even intend to be in town on Christmas, but they got to at least play the Toss the Cork game, which I know I don't really wait till Christmas. I play that game all the time. Now, Asher St. James reveals to Felicity, his sister, how much he likes Grace, and he's already beginning to fall in love. At which point, all the fun has ended for playing the cork game, for just hanging out and having dinner. So the family retires and redecorates the tree for the 3rd time in 2 days. Now, Asher, unfortunately, is leaving town in 2 days. He is going to go see the world, specifically the 7 Wonders, and he's going to write a book on it. And Asher says he needs to do his research, and so cut to him in his room reading a 1-page pamphlet called The 7 Wonders of the World, which I'm pretty sure you could get down all the way to a single-page pamphlet. Rita, the wine mogul, tries to start convincing people to go against Grace and get Grace to get her aunt and uncle to sell the winery because they do not want to sell. They do want to travel the world. They were hoping Grace would take over, but since Grace left for the big city to get her Michelin star, which she did not get, they might have to sell it because they have no one to take over and they're getting old. Grace tries to rekindle her love for cooking, and she finds her mom's old cookbook, and she begins making different recipes, searching different wines, and eventually comes to a fondue that she makes, and she has Asher dip old pizza into the fondue, because the best way to test a recipe is to dip day-old pizza into it. It's finally revealed that they're actually in LaGrange, Georgia. When I think of a winery without being told anything in the United States, I think of Georgia. So there was no reason for us for them to tell us anything else. Nobody has a southern accent. Nobody refers to being in the South. Nothing outside of the word Atlanta, which is said about an hour and a half into the movie, are you even told that they are in Georgia. Grace is given the option of either inheriting the winery, bed and breakfast, and cafe, or returning to the city and getting her Michelin star. Now, she has nothing for her there. I mean, even Asher, who she's beginning to love, is already leaving town soon, so she might as well just abandon this, go get her Michelin star, and encourages her aunt and uncle to sell. Now, Grace overhears Asher, who is having a conversation with somebody about how much he hates Rita, the lady trying to take over the town, and Asher's just talking smack. Now, she believes that he's insulting her, as in she's making fun of Grace, and Grace loses it and just actually starts yelling at him. But he explains what happened, and she forgives him within 15 seconds, thus almost making the scene completely unnecessary. Grace and Asher separately both decide to stay a few more days. He keeps having to leave to travel the world and go see the Seven Wonders. He's planning on hiking in the gardens of Babylon. I'm not really sure if you can do that, but maybe that's what it said you could do in that one-page pamphlet. She decides to stay because she wants to try out her new menu from her mom's book and try it out on Christmas Eve. Now everyone decides to write letters to Santa and burn them up in the fireplace, so the ashes will take them to him at the North Pole and Santa will get their wishes. So he asks her if she was asking for a Michelin star, and she says, I have other wishes and I won't tell you. Is it for love? Who knows? It's never actually revealed. But Asher ends up leaving the next day, and so she's so sad that she can only just focus on basically making her menu for her big Christmas Eve party. The other thing that makes her happy is they decorate the house for the 5th time in the movie. The entire town comes for the Christmas Eve event. The whole family, right before the Christmas Eve event, decorates the entire vineyard. They had wanted to apologize to the vineyard for only having decorated it once and focusing on that tree for 7 times. So they redecorate the whole vineyard that is already decorated. The town comes, and Asher St. John appears out of nowhere and says, I made it all the way to London on my way to the gardens of Babylon and decided to return to you. She's so happy to see him, and they're about to fall in love, and then she gets notified that the Michelin star lady wants to try her food again. So she returns to what we find out is Atlanta, makes a meal. The Michelin star lady loves it, but Grace decides she doesn't want this life anymore. She wants to run the bed and breakfast that she was set to inherit. She wants to run the winery and the cafe and make a whole new family-style meal menu for the cafe. So forget the Michelin star. That's what she wants. And so she leaves the Michelin lady hanging, and she goes all the way back to the town, where she finds Asher St. James waiting. But he has one final surprise for her. He secretly wrote an article that proved how horrible the wine mogul was, and that lady has been banned from town. These are things that can happen in a Christmas movie, probably not in real life. Corporations don't normally just leave after a single bad article is written. Asher reveals to her how much he loves her, and Grace says, I want to be here with you in the winery, in the cafe, in the bed and breakfast, and we'll run it together. And Asher St. James and Grace embrace and kiss, and they have now become a perfect Christmas pairing. And now I have seen this, so you don't have to. Thank you for watching my second video. Make sure to like, subscribe, share, and have a nice day.